Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here again talking about Peter. I have today and tomorrow to kind of finish up, and I hope you've learned something about this man and maybe about yourself in the process. Today is a good day to realize that Peter wasn't perfect, and he didn't have to be used of God, and neither do you. So let's read this passage. I want to say this awful part of Peter's life. This will be chapter 26 of Matthew, beginning with verse 69. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. This was as Jesus was arrested and he's being questioned inside. A servant girl came over and said to him, "You are one of those with Jesus, the Galilean." Peter denied it in front of everyone. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Later, out by the gate, another servant girl noticed him and said to those standing around, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And again, Peter denied it, this time with an oath. "I don't even know the man," he said. A little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, "You must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent." Peter swore, "A curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man." Immediately, the rooster crowed, and suddenly Jesus' words flashed before Peter's mind. "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times that you even knew me." And Peter went away, weeping bitterly. Well, this was the ultimate betrayal of Jesus by Peter. It really wasn't the first time. Even though Peter was this great disciple and one who followed the Lord very diligently. We read in the previous chapter, just before the arrest, when they're up in the garden, and he asked Peter and John and James to pray while he went and prayed. And it said, when he returned, verse 40, and found them asleep, he said to Peter, "Couldn't you even watch with me even 1 hour?" And he says, "The spirit is willing, but the body's weak." Peter disappointed Jesus the number of times. And we get to this setting, and he swears, "I swear I never knew the man," which of course was a lie. And he knew it as he told it, that it was a lie. So why did this Peter, who in the beginning had the courage and the faith to walk away from everything and follow Jesus, why did this Peter come to this point where he denied he ever knew him? Well, I don't have the definitive answer here, but I can tell you that just like when he started sinking while walking on the water that I mentioned the other day and took his eyes off of Jesus, at this moment, he's scared again. Now, I don't blame him, really. The Romans were powerful. They eliminated everybody who was against them. And Peter doesn't want to get killed. Now, tradition says later on that he did get crucified for his faith, and he did not deny it again. But he's still trying to understand, who is this God? What is God doing in my life? And maybe you're doing the same thing. Maybe you're trying to understand, what is God trying to do with me? What am I here for? During those times while we are in the formulating period, the formatting period, the brewing period, if you want to think of it that way, during those times, we we will distribute signs of being weak. And perhaps, like Peter, it says here at the end, and he went away weeping bitterly. He knew he had let Jesus down. But what he didn't know until later, of course, is that God hadn't let him down. God didn't walk away just because he did. God continued to work in his life. God continued to say, Peter, I love you. I want you on my side. I'm thinking about the old Sandlot ways of picking a baseball team, and kids line up and two captains, I'll take you, I'll take you, I'll take you, I'll take you, hoping you're going to get picked. And if you don't get picked, it's really devastating. Or maybe even if you're the very last one picked. Well, you're never the last one picked with God. He has his sights on your life and your heart keener than you do. And yes, Peter messed it up, and he lied, and he denied Jesus. Jesus still was working in his heart and convicting him that he had messed up. It's not important whether you mess up or not. It's important what do you do after that. Now, tomorrow I'm going to finish this story on Peter and talk to some about what he did after this moment. And maybe you can identify with Peter at this point. Maybe you couldn't identify with the Peter we talked about before. Maybe you just don't quite get it that God sees you specially. I hope you'll take some time to think about Peter today and tomorrow, the next few days. I hope you'll come to the point where you understand that Peter was just a human being like you and me, but yet he became the founding block, not the cornerstone, that's Jesus, the founding block of God's church. You have the opportunity to be the founding block of God's purpose for those around you. Be sure you try to reflect the one who loves you unconditionally. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of Peter and his life. We have one more chance to talk about him, and then next week I'll talk about some of the things he wrote in his letters. But just for today, let's just take a moment and ask ourselves, if I had been Peter back at that moment, what would I have done? Yeah, we're all in the same boat together, and God loves us all regardless. If you have a need of something or we can help in some way, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you now. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.